Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Taylor Kanost here with a severe weather update. We have a severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for Columbia and surrounding communities, Lexington and Richland County, in this warning until 3:45 this afternoon. The potential here and the main concern is the threat for damaging straight line wind up to 60 miles per hour possible and hail up to nickel size possible as well. This storm has a history of producing nickel size hail and some gusty winds back in Lexington when it formed about 30 minutes ago, and it has since drifted into the west side of Columbia. So West Columbia, Casey, down to the South Congaree area, and now moving into downtown Columbia. We certainly at the very least have heavy downpours, some lightning, especially on the north side of this storm here. Plenty of lightning strikes just in the past 10 to 15 minutes, and this is drifting to the east pretty slowly, moving that direction. So we're monitoring this storm for the potential again for damaging straight line wind moving into the Columbia metro right now. If you do hear thunder, now is the time to get inside. If you're in this warning box, now is the time to get inside. Let this storm pass on by. In fact, we have a recent thunderstorm gust at the Columbia Metro Airport of 56 miles per hour recently at 2:53 this afternoon, about 11 minutes ago, and that is likely what triggered this severe thunderstorm warning. So there are some serious wind gusts, especially ongoing on the south side of this storm. Let's go ahead and take a closer look and look at some of the velocity products to get us an idea of the type of wind we're seeing. This leading edge, this almost bow shape right here of red moving away from the radar. Red is a sign of the wind moving away from the radar. Green is toward the radar. So we have this surge of wind moving right through Columbia at this moment, and it looks like the brightest of the red, the strongest of the wind, is on the south side of this storm right here, so affecting the I-77, I-26 interchange. Again, we just had a measured gust of 56 miles per hour near the airport just about 10 minutes ago. So this does have the capability of knocking down power lines, knocking down trees, causing damage in Columbia. If you know anyone that's out and about right now, might be a good time to shoot them a text or give them a ring and let them know, hey, we have a nasty storm coming into Columbia right now, capable of producing damage, and it is not safe to be on the roadways. The severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 3:45 this afternoon. Put a quick cone on this as it's tracking eastward, and this is not going to cover every single community, but it will cover quite a few as it continues its progression eastward. So getting to around the Arthurtown neighborhood around 3:08, around the Horrell Hill area around 3:22 this afternoon. So again, this is going to affect much of the city of Columbia, Forest Acres, Fort Jackson. Eventually, you will likely be experiencing at the very least some heavy downpours at times. We're seeing those heavy downpours at this very moment in Columbia. And let me go ahead and pop up our sky camera to get you a look of what it looks like outside here of our WatchFox studios, and definitely some dark skies and heavy rainfall at this moment. That camera bouncing around a little bit due to the wind out there, so definitely a good sign that there is some gusty wind moving through downtown Columbia at this hour. Let's take it to I-126 at Broad River Bridge. Heavy downpours. You can see some ponding on the roadways there as well, likely to cause some issues for travelers. Again, just definitely want to play it safe if you are out and about on the roadways at this moment. Here's Casey, I-26 at Airport Boulevard. Again, this is an area that had a wind gust up to 56 miles per hour just about 15 minutes ago. That was measured. And that is what has triggered this severe thunderstorm warning, again in effect for Lexington and Richland counties until 3:45 this afternoon. Now, our Future Watch, not exactly doing a great job of picking up on the storms that have developed at this hour, but the general idea is we will continue to have this potential for some strong wind gusts, some heavy downpours, potentially some small hail and lightning between now and about 9 p.m. Once we get past 9 p.m., most of the rain should fizzle out, and we'll be looking at quieter conditions later on tonight. I do want to get you a look at the entire Midlands at this hour, because Columbia is not the only area experiencing these downpours right now. Broader view shows there's quite a few thunderstorms south of I-20 at this hour, from St. Matthews in Calhoun County over to southern part of Lexington County and into Aiken and parts of western Orangeburg County. Heavy rain in spots at this hour. None of that is currently severe, but again, the same threats that I mentioned earlier ongoing across much of the Midlands at this moment. The main concern being with this severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect for the city of Columbia and most of the Columbia metro until 3:45 this afternoon. I'm going to continue coverage on watch.com. That's WACH.com. We'll continue that as this warning continues for the Columbia Metro. You can also catch us on our YouTube channel. Just search Watts Fox, and we'll be streaming on there as this storm continues to pass through Columbia. For those watching on television on our Watts Fox station, we'll go ahead and send it back to regular programming. Again, you can watch the rest of our streaming coverage on WACH.com. All right, for those continuing to watch online, again, I'm Chief Meteorologist Taylor Kanost. We'll stick around here as the storm continues to push through Columbia. Could very well cause some issues for folks in the metro, so wanted to stay at least with some streaming coverage online on WACH.com. We're also live on our YouTube channel. That's just search Watch Fox, and we'll keep this up until we get through this severe thunderstorm. So closer look at what's going on right now. Certainly have heavy downpours causing some ponding on area roadways, including the interstates. This initially started as a downburst, and basically what that is a strong thunderstorm that then has this rush of wind that races straight to the surface and then spreads outwards. So as I go back in time here, this began around Lexington just around 2 o'clock this afternoon or so, and I'm going to show you the velocity product here to show you. You see that pocket of green there, that is where we initially had some gusty winds, potentially some severe winds, right around Lexington about an hour ago or so. It wasn't warned at that time, but basically we had winds going that way and winds spreading out that way. So those winds from the thunderstorm hit the surface, spread outward, cause potentially some damage. And since then, that little gust of wind has continued to progress eastward, eventually hit the airport with 56-mile-per-hour winds, and now we see it continuing to track into the Columbia Metro. I'm going to try to get an estimate of some of the radar estimated winds right now. This is not exact. These are probably going to be a little bit under what is actually happening right now, but radar estimating around 20 to 30 mile-per-hour winds across much of Columbia right now, which is not severe, but there's a little gust up to 46 miles per hour there on the northeast side of town. But again, this can occasionally be underdone, and I think that's what's happening right now. The main takeaway here is that we do have gusty winds moving from west to east with the leading edge of this storm that's currently moving through Columbia. So we have that severe thunderstorm warning that does continue until 3:45 this afternoon. I'm going to put a loop on this, showing a little bit of a sign of weakening, and I'm not shocked to see that. Honestly, I would not be shocked if this warning is dropped prior to 3:45, but we're going to keep with you just in case until this expires. Sometimes with this storm being so close to the radar, you may see that circle there on the screen. Yeah, that's where the radar is located. So with it being so close to the radar, sometimes it can get a little grainy next to there and kind of muddy up the picture a little bit. But bottom line is the heaviest of the rain ongoing right now from West Columbia through Casey, now approaching downtown Columbia. Gusty winds, heavy downpours moving into downtown right now. Let's go and take another look at what it looks like in downtown from our camera just atop the Watch Fox studios. Rain falling at the moment. Doesn't look like it's terribly gusty out there right now, so that's good to see. Let's take a look at some of the South Carolina DOT cameras. On the top left there is Columbia. That's, I believe, I-126 at Broad River Bridge. Still some rain coming down there, ponding on the roadways. Elsewhere, Blythewood, you're fine. Lexington, you're drying out. Chapin, you're looking good at this moment as well. That's kind of the nature of summertime thunderstorms. It can be 10 miles difference between sunshine and torrential downpours. Some of you experienced that yesterday, and we're continuing to experience that this afternoon. Farther to the south, a lot of heavy rain moving through southern Lexington County at this moment. And notice there are quite a few lightning strikes with this storm as well. This does appear to be strengthening, so we'll keep an eye on that for the potential for some severe weather. St. Matthews getting hit hard with heavy rainfall. Pretty slow moving storms as well, so ponding on the roads is going to be our main concern. Wouldn't necessarily say flash flooding is likely, but it's not out of the question either, as these can be pretty efficient rain producers and can drop a quick inch of rain in 30 minutes time with the heaviest of these storms like this that we're seeing in southern Lexington County right now. That's beginning to impact the community of North as well. And then farther to the southwest here in Aiken County, the typical summertime pop-up showers and storms ongoing there as well, stretching into western Orangeburg County. City of Orangeburg, you are dry at the moment, but there is a couple downpours just northwest of town, kind of getting close to there, so you'll want to keep an eye on that. Pop up our hail product to see if there's any hail ongoing. It does not look like there's any hail being picked up in Columbia, but we do have a couple of signatures of at least some small hail in southern Lexington County, about ½ an inch in diameter west of Pelion, and then near Swansea about pea size there. So neither of those are severe warned at this time, or severe level. Near St. Matthews, same situation, about pea size hail being estimated there at this very moment. So time right now, 3:14. You're watching severe weather coverage here on WACH.com, and I'm Chief Meteorologist Taylor Kanost here with our Skywatch weather team. Monitoring this severe thunderstorm warned storm that continues to move across Columbia. This warning includes parts of Lexington and Richland County until 3:45 this afternoon. Still looking like we're seeing some signs of weakening on the radar here with this particular storm, so that's good to see. This has packed a punch earlier, though, with some strong gusts that began in Lexington and surged their way to the airport. At 2:53 this afternoon, we had a 56-mile-per-hour wind gust measured at the Columbia Metro Airport. Since then, there may have continued to be some gusty winds on the south side of town, occasional strong gusts elsewhere in Columbia as well. But at this moment, the main concern is heavy rainfall, occasional lightning moving through Columbia right now. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for that threat for severe wind gusts until 3:45 this afternoon. I did just look, and there does not appear to be any hail falling in Columbia at this time. And with this weakening trend, I imagine that's probably not going to be an issue for us locally in the Columbia Metro. But certainly elsewhere, we could see issues for some hail. Go and take a tour around the area to get a look at what we're seeing at this moment. All right, so again, we have this warning until 3:45. Let's go and pan to the south here, because I'm actually starting to get a little bit more concerned about the storm in southern Lexington County. Currently not warned, but torrential downpours. That's I-20 right there, so just to the east of I-20, affecting southern Lexington County. There's a new warning just as I was speaking right there, just popped up. This one until 3:45 this afternoon for Calhoun, Lexington, and Richland County. So this is southern Lexington County, southern Richland, south of the city of Columbia, and a little section of Calhoun County as well, right there, just a smidgen of it. But the main concern is once again going to be 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts with this. There are some signatures of at least some small hail that could be up to penny size with this storm right now. So this new warning in effect until 3:45 this afternoon for southern Lexington, southern Richland, and a sliver of Calhoun County as well. There's a little bit broader view of that particular thunderstorm. So we now have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing in the central Midlands. The storm over Columbia certainly showing weakening signs. That's good for the city, but we'll assess if there was any damage. Haven't seen any reports of damage just yet on National Weather Service chat or on social media. I'll pass that along if that changes, though. But in the meantime, I think heavy downpours that could lead to isolated flash flooding and ponding on the roads is going to be our primary concern in the immediate future, along with the potential for some gusty winds here that could be up to 60 miles per hour. Let me go ahead and pop up this warning to get some more details here. Stand by real quick. This is moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. So again, due to the slow-moving nature of these storms, that does pose that threat for the potential of some flash flood concerns. No flash flood warnings in place at this time, but certainly southern Lexington County be on the lookout for the potential for some flooding. Rough estimate of this, and again, take this with a grain of salt because it is moving slowly. These storms during the summer tend to strengthen, pulse up, and then fizzle out pretty quickly. So I don't necessarily expect this storm to survive by the time it gets to Columbia, but between, say, southern Lexington County up near Lexington, there's certainly some potential for some impacts. So rough arrival time for this storm as it drifts northeastward would be in Gaston around 3:23, so in about 5 minutes from now. Lexington around 3:33 this afternoon, 15 minutes from right now. So there's Lexington. There's the storm beginning to kind of nudge your direction here pretty soon. Possible arrival for your location. As far as hail is concerned, we have a little pocket here of hail that could be up to penny size north of Wagoner right now, about ½ inch in diameter, just south of Gaston, about pea-size hail possible in that particular location. So those are, again, a couple of locations where some small hail may be ongoing. As for Columbia, the storm there does continue to show weakening signs. That warning is still in effect until 3:45 this afternoon. Wouldn't be shocked if it is dropped prior to that, though. This new warning here for southern Lexington, southern Richland, sliver of Calhoun County, also in effect until 3:45 this afternoon. The main threat with this storm and any storms we see this afternoon is likely going to be 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, along with some small hail, torrential downpours, and frequent lightning. Here's the loop over the last 30 minutes, and again, these are just kind of taking their sweet time moving along. Just enough of a pulse up here for this storm to become severe warned. Let's pull up our velocity to see where we have potentially some strong gusts. Let's see here. All right, so got a couple pockets where there might be some gusty winds here. South of Gaston has got my attention. Radar's estimating about 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts there near Swansea and Gaston. Wouldn't be shocked if it's closer to 50 to 60 miles per hour there. Another pulse up here next to Pelion and Fairview Crossroads area. Potential for some gusty winds. Again, nothing on the radar is showing that it could be at necessarily severe levels, but again, these do tend to underdo the reality of these just a little bit. So again, estimates on the radar of about 30 to 35 miles per hour. Wouldn't be shocked if it is closer to 50 miles per hour near Swansea, moving north toward Gaston. That US 321 stretch is likely going to be a mess between Gaston and Swansea. As I do pull back up the radar imagery, you can see Gaston, you're dry right now, but there's some strong winds and heavy downpours that are going to be close to you before too long. And that's a good reason to head indoors. There's lightning nearby as well, even where it's not raining. Notice lightning strikes near Gaston where it's not raining, so that's reason enough to go ahead and get on indoors. All right, so here's the situation right now. Again, we have a couple warnings in place across the central Midlands. We have this particular warning for southern Lexington, southern Richland, northwest portions of Calhoun County until 3:45 this afternoon. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and hail up to about penny size are possible with this particular storm. We have a secondary severe thunderstorm warning that was issued for Lexington and Richland counties, including the Columbia Metro. That one also until 3:45 this afternoon. That storm has weakened significantly, so not too concerned about that one at this moment. And again, wouldn't be surprised if that warning is dropped there pretty soon. But this storm to the south is kind of drifting generally toward at least the south side of Columbia, so we'll need to at least keep an eye on it as it continues its slow march to the northeast at about 25 miles per hour. Folks south and east of Columbia, or south and west of Columbia, Gaston, the Macedon area, Edmond, over to South Congaree, you may very well be impacted by this particular storm here. Be on the lookout for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible with this. Could eventually impact areas down the road here, like Hopkins. But that's a little bit ways away. So travel on I-26 already a bit touch and go due to some earlier storms. This particular storm is drifting toward I-26 again. So south of the I-77 interchange on I-26 very well could become a mess here in the next half hour or so. Let me go and take you across a few cameras. And looking okay right now at I-26 near the Pine Ridge area. That's just south of Columbia. But elsewhere, we'll take you over to I-20 near Lexington. Drying out for the time being. I-26 near Airport Road in Casey. Still some wet roadways out there. I-26 at the I-20 interchange. Road certainly wet up there near a malfunction junction. Swinging over to I-26 in Newberry County, doing just fine there. And then 126 at Broad River Bridge, starting to dry out there a little bit. Still some lingering moisture on the roads that could be causing some ponding, especially near the shoulder. So you're going to want to be careful in those locations. But again, as for the rest of us in Columbia, the immediate threat has definitely wound down for us in Columbia. It was looking a little dicey there right around the top of the hour, and that's what we had that severe thunderstorm warning issued previously for Columbia. I'm going to pop up the latest radar imagery to get a look at what we got going on right now. There we go. All right, they still have that warning going for the Columbia Metro, but certainly bigger concerns for folks in southern Lexington County, southern Richland County with this storm. Torrential downpours up and down Highway 321 right there near Swansea, getting close to Gaston right now. Pellion in the thick of it right now. There's I-20. Portions of I-20 are in the severe thunderstorm warning. You may get some gusty outflow winds from this, but the worst of the rain likely to stay just to the east of I-20 there in Lexington County. So that's good, at least for travelers in that particular location. This storm is drifting slowly to the northeast. We'll keep an eye on it as it could impact the Columbia Metro, at least the south side here, within the next hour or so. We have this severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 3:45 this afternoon. Put a new track on this. Again, moving slowly to the northeast at 25 miles per hour. I think this track might be a little bit ahead of reality, but again, Gaston, this is next up for you very soon in the next 5 minutes or so. Around Red Bank, around Lexington, could be in the next 10 minutes or so where this cluster of rain gets close to town for you folks around there. Around Casey, arrival time around 3:42 this afternoon. That's if this maintains its strength. What's likely going to happen is we're at peak intensity right now, and then it kind of rains itself out, starts to weaken as it continues its push northeast. But these have kind of overachieved today. We weren't really expecting severe weather this afternoon, but these have managed to produce a couple of strong wind gusts across the area. So we're definitely keeping an eye on that for you folks, and we'll stay on here for a little bit longer to keep you updated on the situation. As far as hail is concerned, not really seeing much of that across the area. Here's our hail tracker, and have some signs of small hail continuing near Swansea. That's very small, around pea size. Near Pellion, same story, right around 0.4 inches in diameter. That's about dime size, not severe, but at least some small hail is possible with this particular storm. For Columbia, those of you watching in Columbia and around the metro here, this is really weakened to just a rain shower at this point. Haven't even had any lightning strikes recently in the past 10 to 15 minutes. So I think you're safe to go out and about in Columbia at this point. I'll take one more look at the radar just to get a glimpse of some of the wind. And what we can do is actually kind of take an x-ray through these rain showers and these thunderstorms to get a glimpse of how fast these storms are moving and how strong the wind is within these. And I'm not really seeing much of anything that's of particular concern in this particular warning here. So while this warning's in effect until 3:45, really I'm thinking we're okay in Columbia at this moment. What I'm most concerned about is what we're seeing down here farther to the south in this particular warning. That bright green right there near Gaston and near Swansea, that's certainly an area of concern. Latest update here, that little punch of green there is where we have potentially the strongest of the wind gusts at this moment. So let's go ahead and take a closer look. Radar estimating close to 40-mile-per-hour gusts right now near Swansea. And again, sometimes the radar can underdo it a little bit, so it could be closer to the 50 to 60-mile-per-hour range that we're seeing near Swansea and near Gaston at this moment. So heavy downpours there right now. 321 between Gaston and Woodward is very much a mess at this moment. Likely some flooding concerns there. Near North, same situation. Back towards St. Matthews, you are not in the warning, but you are dealing with some heavy downpours at this hour. And then farther to the south and southwest, hit and miss downpours around Aiken County, Orangeburg County, much of it dry, including most of the city of Orangeburg. Most of this activity is drifting just to your north. So it looks like you're going to miss the worst of this. Folks that may be heading to Congaree National Park might be impacted by this within the next 20 to 30 minutes as well. This is getting closer and closer to I-26 south of Columbia. Between Columbia and Orangeburg, I would not recommend traveling on I-26 over the next hour or so, as this severe warned storm is drifting that direction. It's going to make travel very difficult there. Some of that road has already received some heavy downpours, and with this heavy rainmaker coming that way, that's going to cause a problem there as well. Folks watching in Lexington, Red Bank, it's going to be a close call. Worst of it is to your south right now. It's drifting northeast. I think the worst of it's going to miss you in Lexington, but again, you might get some gusty winds from the outflow of this storm. Heaviest of the rain likely misses you just to the south, though. Really, it's, again, South Congaree, Gaston, south side of Columbia, over to I-26 and the I-77 interchange. Eventually, Hopkins may be impacted by this. Pine Ridge area, those are a few communities that are most likely to be impacted by this particular storm. So we appreciate you all watching. Again, my name's Taylor Kanost. I'm the Chief Meteorologist here for the Skywatch Weather Team. We appreciate you watching our coverage on YouTube, our Watch Fox YouTube channel, and on WACH.com. We have 2 active severe thunderstorm warnings. One does include Columbia, but I'm not concerned about that system anymore at all. It's just a rain shower at this point. That warning will expire at 3:45. Now our attention is mainly on this storm in southern Lexington, southern Richland, western Calhoun counties. This warning in effect until 3:45 this afternoon. This storm drifting to the northeast at about 25 miles per hour. So slowly moving to the northeast, but nonetheless getting very close to Gaston right now, getting closer to I-26 just south of the I-77, I-26 interchange. Could cause some major headaches for travelers in that part of the Midlands here over the next hour or so. Do want to put another track on here to get you an estimate on where this is headed next, and I'm going to update the estimated timing to give you a better idea of what's going on. So it's a pretty broad area of heavy rain. If it does manage to hold together, it would affect Columbia around 4:10 this afternoon, so about 40 minutes from now. Again, a slow mover. Certainly likely seeing some dark skies to the south due to this storm. Gaston, again, this storm is very close to you. South Congaree arrival time would be around 3:45 this afternoon. Springdale, 3:54. West Columbia around 4:02, and then downtown Columbia around 4:10 this afternoon. So folks that might be watching, still at work, wanting to get an idea of when's a good time to head out and beat some of these storms. I think you have maybe another 20 to 30 minutes before some of this storm impacts at least parts of the Columbia metro. Right now in Columbia, even though there is an active warning, not seeing really anything that should stop you from going out and taking care of your errands or heading out on the roads. There has not been a lightning strike in Columbia or nearby in the last 15 to 20 minutes. The winds have certainly died down with that storm. I think we're good to go there in Columbia. But just please keep an eye on this storm to the south, as it is drifting northeast and may impact the Columbia metro toward the 4 o'clock hour or so. So with that in mind, we'll go ahead and wrap up our coverage for now. If there's any more concerns for an update, we will certainly hop back on this stream. You can watch our coverage on Watch Fox. So we'll have live updates on Watch Fox News at 5 o'clock later this afternoon as well. So stay safe out there. Appreciate you all watching, and have a good day.